Karan, there are a few questions here on the chat.
Okay.
Would you like me to read them out, or would you like to do it yourself?
I think I could. Let me. Okay. Should I start from the top? From I think
Yes.
your question.
No, there's. I think it starts with Mr. Paul's question.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. So the slides definitely. I mean, they're just a supplementary thing with pictures, but I'd love to send it to you. Maybe I will send it to Reshmi or someone, the Rtambhara email, and you can give it out to whoever wants it.
Yeah. This is,
The next,
this is recorded, so we have everything that you've done so far.
Okay.
So
That's perfect. That's perfect.
there's a question from Paul Heavy. I think he says we can break the cycle by switching off from social media, especially in the first 30 minutes of your day, by praying, focusing on God, and do something inspirational before you start your day. Your comment.
I see it now. Absolutely. So you are absolutely right, Paul. Like I said, you can reduce the temptation by keeping your smartphone away from your bedside, because you get too tempted to actually get on it if you see it. And you can choose to either pray, meditate, be grateful to whatever you have, because gratitude is a very important aspect that we need to appreciate whatever we have. And you're absolutely right that those 30 minutes can change the way your day goes. By just not using your smartphone in the morning, your whole day will change. That I can promise you.
Yeah, good.
Okay. Second question is by Neva Auntie. Has research shown what amount of users per day is healthy, or does it vary depending on the individual? This is a very new topic, Neva ji, and people are still researching about it. But to come to an actual answer to that is very difficult. So what I would say is, as long as you don't have that craving to pull out your phone and check Facebook or Instagram or WhatsApp, and you have complete control over yourself, then it is good. But once you get into that loop and your whole psychology gets ingrained with that habit loop, then it gets very difficult. So we just need to be aware ourselves and make sure that we are not controlled by our smartphones, but we control our smartphones ourselves. I hope that answers the question. Okay, so I think the next question is about from you as well. So as you mentioned, internet and online had helped tremendously. However, what is the threshold for research? So being deliberate about the usage and creating a habit, a discipline, is a good call. Absolutely. Actually, I have chosen to kind of, I intermittently delete certain apps from my phone because you just get tempted to use it. But you have these time limit apps nowadays. If you're using Apple, they have it in the system. If you use Android, you have apps, which basically limits you. You can set a time saying, okay, 15 minutes, you use Facebook and it'll shut it down itself. So if you can use that, that would be great.
Karan, can I say one thing?
Yes, please.
I just wanted to say, yeah, your presentation was quite insightful, and more important than anything, just to bring awareness to our mind that we are actually getting manipulated, again, all this digital. And you attended the webinar we had the other day. So that was on leadership, stress management, and well-being. So definitely this digital misutilization is something I would definitely add to some of those webinars that we have been conducting, because this is something we take it for granted and don't realize the impact, the negative impact. The positive impact, we all know about it, right? Right now, like COVID, and we are doing this dialogue. But the negative impact, we just don't want to come to terms with it because we are liking it too much. But thank you so much for the awareness. And I just wanted to find out about scientific. Do they say out of 24 hours, healthy amount is like 6 hours as opposed to something like that? Like you said, it's too new and we don't know that. But I liked the pointers you gave, just very consciously switching it off from this time to that time. That's again a discipline and a habit that we can form. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for listening as well. I think I'll move on to the next question. So there was a news, the Scandinavian countries have introduced digital devices from primary. Now COVID is driving everyone to online learning. Okay, I think that is more of a comment by Janikuram. The next one is by Binaji. So it seems to me that we need to practice much more discrimination in these times, and we need a lot of willpower. Is the new generation lacking of it? If so, why? Okay, so more than willpower, what I talked about was the new generation, us and the generation below us. We are lacking the discipline to actually wait to the topic I talked about, instant gratification. So we don't have the patience to wait for something. We don't have the patience to, let's say, go out and do some work to get that success, the feeling of success, because it's so easily available to us that we are getting addicted to it. The same way a gambler gets addicted to gambling, we, especially the new generation, are getting addicted to our phones, and literally people cannot take their eyes off it because we are so into that vicious cycle that we are receiving dopamine, posting, receiving dopamine. So this is getting scary, and this throws willpower out of the window. And this is the reason people get depressed. This is the reason people don't do things that will actually benefit for them. Our generation has stopped reading books because now we can easily get these movies and TV shows on Netflix. So we stopped reading. We stopped getting that gratification from actually putting our minds into a book, because it's so easy to just get a hit of dopamine through our smartphones. So it's sad, but I think more that we are aware of it, more we can teach other people, and that will save the generations to come.
Thank you.
Okay. Has any worldwide survey been done with teens who were born? So yes, I did a lot of research, and I didn't want to quote all the scientific papers here, but there have been a lot of research done with young adults, millennials specifically, regarding this. And they have noticed that a lot of them are getting depressed because I think depression cases have increased tremendously with the internet usage. I think there's a graph that shows both of them increasing. And the reason being is, for example, for one day you are popular with a photograph on Facebook and you get a lot of likes, you get a lot of attention, but then you post something else after a certain period of time and you don't get the same kind of attention, but you want it. Your mind has already craved that. So that is causing a serious problem in today's world. Okay, so moving on to the next one, teens. Does switching off internet connectivity between 10 p.m. and 7 p.m. every day help? Absolutely. If you can actually control the switching off the connectivity and you don't just get bored and switch it back on, because it's very easy to do, then it's definitely good. Otherwise, you can follow the advice that I gave and just charge the phone away from you somewhere else, and then you're not going to use it. Exactly. Mr. Nagaranjan has talked about, like we go on kind of fasting for a day in a week, it should be possible to be away from smart gadgets on a day every week, please advise. So this is exactly what digital detox is. So you can choose a day, maybe not a work day, it could be a Saturday or a Sunday, where you completely switch off your smartphone. You can use something like, I use this one here, just for emergencies, because you can't, sometimes you do have emergencies, and just see the amount of productivity that increases. I'll bet like if you have a book that you've been wanting to read, you'll pick up that book, because we as humans, we get bored. So we will in turn do something meaningful instead of going on social media. Okay. So another by Mr. Nagaranjan. How do we infuse digital detox in people as community? Maybe the whole exercise has to start from schools and universities. So a government initiative That would be really good. And I believe a lot of schools actually control smartphone usage, because I remember when I was studying in Gurgaon at Pathways, they would not allow us to have our phones more than an hour a day. So I think they're already doing it. But the problem comes when the kids are back home, the parents are busy, they're working. So they give a 5-year-old can use a smartphone nowadays. So imagine how used to he's getting. People are not going out to play anymore. The concept of playing outside outdoors has already vanished from our generation onwards. So it is very tricky, and you're absolutely right. It has to be in a mass community scale. And if government can do it, it would be really good. Okay, this is a comment. I'm just gonna try to go to the questions because I don't want to be here too long for all of you. Okay. What else can you suggest to people who use digital information as a guidance or a professional advisor? You mentioned books. What do you like to learn doing non-digitally? Okay. Um, so I mean, that the book I mentioned, Deep Work. It's very good. You should definitely read it. What they talk about is these 90 minutes of deep work blocks. So you don't need to shut down completely. So before those 90 minutes of deep work block, what you do is you gather all the information necessary for your work, for your breakthrough, and put it down on paper or just put it offline, and then shut off all the connections and all the distractions. And for 90 minutes, maybe listen to some kind of non-lyrical music and just get deep into your thoughts and into that work. And this is where all the breakthroughs come. He gives brilliant examples of Carl Jung, Einstein, the Twitter CEO right now, I'm forgetting his name, Jack Dorsey, who all use this method. So it's a short read, but you should definitely read it if you're interested. And what I like to do non-digitally, I love cooking. So that's definitely non-digital for me. And when I do that, I feel like I get into a meditative state and I forget everything else. And I just work on the ingredients and the taste and everything. So that's something I like to do non-digitally. So by Mika Ji, looking forward to your digital detox resort. What kind of family activities are you planning there to attract locals? So I will have multiple programs there at the resort. It's not just a digital detox, but I will have a lot of things like hiking. I'm thinking archery, pottery making, or just meditation, yoga, different courses, leadership courses. I will bring in speakers from all around the world, and similar to what Niva ji had done previously, I'd love to do seminars there. So things that will actually build the people, the community that actually come to the resort and get something out of it rather than just a retreat. Mr. Chakravarti has said, we went to a resort which had no connectivity. That was the best holiday we ever had. And I strongly believe that would be possible because it really gets you into the real human connections. Okay, I think we are done with the questions.
Yeah, anybody would like
answered everyone. Yeah.
We'll just check if anybody else has a question.
Okay.
They'd like to unmute themselves and ask the question. Most welcome. Otherwise, we can continue. I don't think there are any more questions. So
there is one on 5G. 5G.
Okay, go ahead.
There was one on chat now.
What somebody's asked, Anu S has asked, what are your views on 5G?
I mean, 5G is having a very difficult time with this coronavirus and everything. I mean, I'm not against connectivity. 5G is just a much faster form of 4G or 3G. So what happens with this newer and faster connections is you start getting different kind of social media apps. For example, the previous apps we had Twitter and Facebook, which were text and some pictures. Then you had Instagram with faster internet, which had some pictures and some videos. But now with a faster response time, faster internet such as 5G, we have a new upcoming apps such as this TikTok, then there's Thriller in the US, which is purely video based. So the cycle is getting quicker and quicker. Now you don't even need to wait for someone to actually click on your picture and view. It just scrolls for you. So we are getting hooked to it. It reminds me of this scene from this, I think it's a Pixar movie called WALL-E, where all human beings, they're just in these wheelchairs and they've grown fat and they just have their food and water all coming through a pipe and they're just watching something which is scrolling for them and the robots are, controlling them. So with this, we just need to be aware as human beings to make sure that the actual real human to human connection should always be alive. That's it.
All right. I think there are no more questions after this. So may I request our Director of Marketing, Sri Rohan Nayak, to give the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Beenaji. If today's era were to be named, it sure would be called a digital age in the years to come. The influence and impact digitization has had on us is immense and revolutionary. Though this has been amazing technologically, it sure has invaded into our emotional and private spaces. Drawing a line is the key for emotional well-being. Thank you so much, Karan, for sharing your knowledge on such a relevant topic of our times. Your recommendations have been thought-provoking and easily adoptable. You sure have raised our awareness on digital detoxification. Thank you, lovely audience. Hope the talk was intriguing today. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again for your presence and participation from all of us at Rtambhara. We look forward to your presence every week on Tuesdays and Fridays, where we bring to you interesting topics on holistic wellness and the arts, delivered by a host of distinguished, knowledgeable speakers. Our next talk will be on 28th August at 7 p.m. Sri Krishnapani K.C. Raju will be talking to us on how to solve, resolve, and dissolve. So thank you once again. And with that, we conclude today's session. Thank you once again, Karanji. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Thank you so much, Karan, for honoring us with your wonderful
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next one.
Thank you.